Hey, what's going on, everybody? JS Cards here, coming at you today with a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. I got a guest here today, Eva. Thanks for coming onto the channel today. She's going to be showcasing her at Ignister deck profile. I saw your list on Twitter the other day. It looks pretty fun, so thanks for coming on here, and you're going to showcase it. So you've been seeing some success with this deck lately, right?
Yeah, so I just picked up this deck pretty recently. Basically, the first time I played it in person was over last weekend. I played in a couple locals with it. I think my record over the weekend was 6-2. So like respectable.
That's
I
good,
did.
yeah.
I came in third at locals um twice, and so it's like that works for me. And I'm still learning the deck, but I really like it, and I think it actually um, not a lot of people are talking about it, but I think it really has some good rogue potential in this format. So
Yeah, that's awesome, especially for just learning the deck. Congrats on doing well with it. I know you've been posting like little fun interactions some of these cards have with each other and with some of the games you played. So, yeah, I'm really excited to jump into this. So, I'll just let you take it away. Let's check out this list.
all right, so we are playing at Ignister. So the first and most important thing about the deck is you want your starters. So I'll go through the Ignister starters and then like the other things that can kind of be starters themselves. So you play 3 copies of Achichi at Ignister and 3 copies of Picari at Ignister. These are your best starters in the deck. If you see these cards, basically you can have a hand that is 4 hand traps in Achichi or Picari, and you are making a 5,000 attack Arrival Cybers at Ignister with an Omni Negate Engrave, and then if you had those 4 hand traps, you got 4 hand traps in your hand. So
Right.
it's gonna be kind of hard for your opponent to get over that. These cards are great. They're incredible 1 card starters, and you cannot play any less than 3 of each in the deck.
Fair enough.
Um, So then the other Adignisters, they all play a role in some capacity. Doyan is, I'd say, besides these two, he's the most important other Adignister. At some points, I like playing him at 2, and at other points, I like playing him at 1. So when Doyan is summoned, it allows you to add an Adignister monster from your graveyard back to your hand. And then when he is link summoned, he allows you to add an Adignister spell or trap from your deck to your hand as well. So there are some times when this card is like the reason why I wanted to play 2 of him is that he's not a starter on your going first play, but he is so good to top deck in a grind game or anything. Top decking this card is like if you have Achichi in the graveyard, you normal summon Doyan, add Achichi back to hand, then link this off, and then go off and summon your Achichi. And add one of your spells and traps back to your hand. It's a really amazing card. And on summon, I forgot to mention with these things, Achichi adds a level 4 lower Adignister to your hand, and Picari adds an Adignister spell or trap.
Oh, gotcha.
So, so those Adignisters, and then our other one-ofs, 1 Gachiri Adignister, 1 Bururu, 1 Denmari, and 1 Hiari. So Gachiri is the big boy. He's got 3,000 defense, and he has 2 very interesting and very relevant effects. So the first one is that while he's on the field, the first time each Cyber's monster would be destroyed by card effect, it is not destroyed. So this is a card that if I'm playing against like a trap deck or something going second, I'll summon this out pretty early on. So if they have like a Torrential Tribute or something, or even a Solemn Strike, they can negate the effect, but it's not going to destroy the monster if it's on the monster effect. Um,
Nice.
the second effect is that When it is sent to, it can also special summon itself by negating the effect of one Adignister monster on the field. You could special summon it from the hand. The amazing effect about this is if it is used as material for a link summon, you can target one effect monster. You can target one of your effect monsters, and that monster is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. So there are some weird circumstances where I can't really go into the Arrival Cybers, but I'll make an access code at 5300 attack that is unaffected by my opponent's card effects. And sometimes that just gets you through to the next turn because you have a bunch of hand traps or something. And that if they don't have something that can immediately respond to your access code talker on the following turn, you can just activate its effect. They can't respond to it and just start popping whatever is going to be the trouble for it.
That's awesome.
Love this card. Bururu is, you find this in your combo. It can be special summoned. It can be added to your hand off one of the monsters in the extra deck, and it foolishes on summon. This is how you get your Denmari in the grave. When Denmari is in the grave, it is an Omni Negate if you control the Arrival Cybers. So this is great if your opponent is like, haha, I'm going to bring out a Boral Sword. This is going to be easy. And you're like, no, it's not.
Nope.
You just banish this guy from the grave, and then that Boral Sword loses its attack boosting effect when it tries to go for, its own 6k attack into a 6k Arrival. Bururu also is a tuner, and when it's used for a synchro summon, it summons back the other material to your field. So usually you'll synchro this off with Doyan or with Picari into your level 7 synchro, and then you summon it back, which is really great for the deck. Denmari also has an effect where if it's in your hand and an Adignister monster is going to be attacked or is attacking itself, it can special summon itself and negate that attack.
That seems pretty good.
Even in your hand,
yeah.
Even in your hand, as long as you have another Adignister, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
And Hiyari is a special summon if you control another Adignister, and it can tribute a Cybers monster on the field to add a level 6 or higher Adignister to your hand. So Hiyari can tribute a monster and add Denmari or Gachiri to hand. And
Nice.
usually you're going to be adding Gachiri.
Yeah.
So those are all the Adignisters that I play in the deck. You don't really need to play more than one of any of them besides Picari or Achichi, just because the other ones aren't necessarily starters.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask how that lineup has been working for you, but it seems like it's going well. And like the starters, of course, you probably want to play 3 of, but one of each of the others is the way to go, you think?
Yeah, because none of the other ones in and of themselves are a 1-card starter. There are hands where you draw like Bururu and Doyan, and normal summon Bururu, send Achichi, and then revive it back with Doyan. But that is that hand only occurs like 2% of the time.
Okay, yeah.
The ratios that you have in this deck, it is like very rare that you're going to get that hand.
Right.
But it does happen sometime.
Gotcha. Awesome.
So here's part of why I think this deck is so good in this format. Hand traps galore.
Oh boy.
Play 2 Nibiru, 2 Effect Veiler, 2 Ghost Spell, 3 Ogre, 3 Ash Blossom, and 3 Imperm.
All of the hand traps. Okay.
All of the hand traps. So by this, it is basically, so because I'm playing 16 hand traps, I think it is in this deck, and the other cards that you have that get you into Picari or Achichi. So you have a 67% chance to open 2 hand traps, which in this format is kind of necessary.
Yeah, definitely.
So, if you open Ash and Nibiru, Imperm and Nibiru, it's pretty good. Imperm or Valor and Nibiru. So, if you're opening 2 hand traps, your opponent's gonna have a really tough time.
Yeah.
And I think these are the best kind of calls for the meta. Ash, it's Ash.
It's Ash.
It's Ash. Imperm, amazing for monster negation, as well as sometimes being able to turn off important floodgates.
Yeah.
Nibiru is a weird card in this format because of Adventurer Token, but because you have a very high chance to open Nibiru with a different hand trap as well, it becomes a very powerful one, because if they summon the Griffin Rider, so you have 8 different ways to negate the Griffin Rider if they have that. And let's say you also had Nibiru in hand. And then you also have the Ash to stop them from adding it to hand. You also have the Ghost Spell, which can stop the Water Enchantress from being able to add, because it adds from deck or graveyard to hand. So there are a lot of different ways to stop that card from coming out and to still just wipe your opponent's board.
That's awesome. Would you change anything up here with the hand traps, or would you consider playing anything different, or these have been working out pretty well so far?
I go back and forth on Belle all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna
She's
say
good.
that's an interesting choice, but I mean, it seems good and it makes sense why you play it, but
Belle is weird in this format. She sometimes really comes up. Like, if you're still playing against a Tri-Brigade player, hit Revolt, hit Nadir Servant, you hit the Water Enchantress, as I mentioned. She can also do stuff like hitting Virtual World Lao Lao. Other things in the format, DPE.
yeah.
So there's a lot of things that she hits. Some stuff with Eldritch, but sometimes she is also kind of a dead card. This card is not great versus pure Sword Soul. Prevents the Deskbot from special summoning. If they're on, the Aurora Dawn Go Burr sort of build.
Yeah.
Which can really hurt them. But yeah, I think she's good in this for now. I've thought about switching out Valor for Chalice, but I'd rather just stop a problem before it is a problem and have to hit it from there on out.
Yeah, that makes sense. And,
So,
like you said, if the bells aren't going to be great in a matchup, that's 2 cards you can always just side out for something else that'll help you. So, yeah, awesome. That seems pretty solid, though.
yeah. I've been pretty happy with these hand trap ratios. I'm glad that Ghost Ogre is back in the format, because I think she is a wonderful hand trap, and I'm glad that there are cards that are very weak to her now. So
Yeah, it's funny how some of these hand traps will go multiple formats without anybody really using them, and then all of a sudden they just become super popular again. So it's nice to see. Yeah, I like Ghost Ogre quite a bit too. So
it's so strange. There's things like right now, hardly anyone's playing Phantasme, but when Tri Brigade was the most represented deck, not playing Phantasme, not even in the main or sideboard, was like, what are you doing?
yeah, exactly.
Free. So for the spells, these are our other starters. So 3 copies of Signet Mining and 3 copies of I Meet You. People are probably familiar with Signet Mining from Salamangreat. You discard 1 card and add a level 4 lower Cybers to hand. And then I Meet You. So for this one, you reveal a Cybers monster in your extra deck with 2300 attack, and then you can add a Cybers and add Ignister monster with the same attribute from your deck to your hand.
Oh,
And if you don't summon the monster that you revealed from your extra deck, you take 2,300 points of damage.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's a cool searcher. This is the weakest of your starters because this by itself does not get you into the Arrival Cybers most of the time. Um, Usually you have something that'll help you to extend, so it's not just like dead card, but it'll still get you into an unaffected access code talker. So like
That's still pretty
that's
good.
something.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so it works though. Yeah, so you reveal the Fire Phoenix at Ignister to add a Chi-Chi, you add the Light Dragon to add Picari. Sometimes you reveal Transcode Talker to add Gachiri. That's a weird one that happens sometimes. But yeah, great cards in it. Then for the last of our spells, we play three copies, well, three copies of Ignister Island and a Terraforming. Ignister Island is really searchable in this deck. You can search it off your Link 1, or you can search it off Picari. But you really want to open this card, especially in this meta right now. This card is really crucial to open against Floowandereeze especially. Without this, you're very reliant on your normal summon to get the ball rolling. And then they have that trap card that as soon as you normal summon, they get to go off with theirs.
All right. Yeah.
Summon out Mega Ryza and you're like, okay.
GG.
Yeah, GG basically. So you really want to see this in your opening hand despite how searchable it is. And what helps with it being so searchable, and sometimes you're going to have it a lot in your hand, is eye contact. So the thing about eye contact is that if you have Ignister Island in your field zone and you have an Ignister Island in your hand, you can reveal Island and then you can put it to the bottom of your deck and draw 3 cards.
Oh, I did not know that. I'm not really familiar with that card, but okay then.
It is sometimes a brick, but sometimes it will save your life.
Nice.
There are times where you just open tons, like your combo is going to be fine. You have tons of extenders and such, but you don't have any hand traps. So you use eye contact, put this to the bottom of the deck, and there are times where you just draw 3 hand traps, and you're like,
nice.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it helps with the fact that you play so many copies of Island. And Island, when it's in the field zone, you can special summon and add Ignister from your hand for each attribute that you have. So you can special summon a Chi-Chi, but then you can't special summon a Chi-Chi again. You can special summon Picari, but then you can't do it again that turn.
Oh, gotcha.
So this is how it kind of keeps the ball rolling and how you can keep summoning. And if you Ghost Ogre this, don't. Because when it gets sent to the graveyard, you can banish and add Ignister on the same turn it was sent to just set it back to your field and go again.
Oh, okay. There we go. Another effect of it that I didn't know about. So I haven't really played against this deck much, so I'm learning lots.
Yeah, it's so funny because Ogre is so prevalent right now, and people would just be like, I think I need to hit the field spell, Ogre. And I'm like, okay. Set. Banish a Chi-Chi. Set again.
You know Yu-Gi-Oh! Players don't read.
Yeah. You're right, though.
But I should probably start reading some of these, though. They seem really good. Lots of starters, lots of hand traps.
And then one Called by the Grave, because Called by the Grave. And then one Idol Reborn. This is a quick play Monster Reborn for any Ignister in your graveyard.
Nice.
So it's very good. You could possibly play 2. There's definitely an argument for it. But I think 1 has been pretty good for me for right now. the biggest issue that I've come into is just not opening an Adignister or just not opening Picaria or a Chi-Chi. With how many starters you play, because you essentially play 12 copies of them with I Meet You and Sign Up Mining, you have an 85% chance to open a starter. And then because of your hand trap ratios, it's like the interaction you always want to have is one good starter and two hand traps at least. And the way that this is built at 40 cards, you have a 54% chance to open a starter and two hand traps.
Nice.
So
you got the math all figured out and everything. Nice.
Teacher moves.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
So the extra deck. So everything else is links besides these two. So Light Dragon Adignister and Wind Pegasus Adignister. This is what you reveal to add Picari off of I Meet You. This card is also really strong though, because it can destroy monsters on the field, on your opponent's side of the field, non-targeting, up to the number of Adignisters that you control. And so you can get this out pretty easily because Picari also has a secret effect where it can change any other Ignister to a level 4. And this is generic materials. So
oh, there you go.
This is really great against the Flanders matchup because they think, haha, you have Link monsters. How are you going to out Empen? And we're like, Picari, another monster, Light Dragon, pop pop, move on.
Carry on with your day.
Exactly.
Nice.
And then it also has an effect in the battle phase where you can reborn a Link monster if another Cyberus monster you control inflicts battle damage.
Oh.
A lot of weird effects on these guys. Wind Pegasus is basically like Light Dragon, except it destroys spells and traps up to the number of Adignister monsters you control.
There you go.
So
some
this
back row hate.
And it also has the effect where if it's on the field or in the graveyard, and one of your cards is destroyed, you can banish it from your field or graveyard to shuffle back, to target and shuffle back a card your opponent controls.
Oh, okay.
This card, so this card is usually like a Dogmatica punishment target, because people will just dump it off of that and then shuffle something back for later. This card comes in clutch so often, where your opponent goes into a Borrelsword maybe, and they do end up outing a rival Cybers, but you have Wind Pegasus in the graveyard, so you shuffle back their Borrelsword, and they just lost a whole bunch of investment that they put into a Link 4.
Right. Yeah, lots of decks, or not a lot, but other decks use that card in their extra deck. Like you said, it's a good punishment target. If you can get it into your grave, it's pretty good.
Yep. We love Wind Pegasus. The Link. So, the Link ones, 2 Dark Infant Adignister and 1 Link Spider. So, Dark Infant searches your field spell on Link Summon, and then also has this effect that it can, if an Adignister with 2300 attack activates its effect, it can move itself over a zone and change its attribute.
Oh.
So it's a very weird effect, but when we go into another monster, I can show you why that's relevant.
Sure, yeah.
And this is for Nibiru.
I was gonna say Nibiru.
You don't put up any negates on field. So you get hit with Nibiru, you go into Link Spider.
Fair.
Usually your post Nibiru play is like Fire Phoenix Adignister or the Axis Code play. You just make the Axis Code, pop the Nibiru. Sometimes it's unaffected because of Gachiri, but yeah, this deck takes a hit from Nibiru. What you gonna do? So Then our other links, there are link 2s, Security Dragon, Splash Mage, Double Splash Mage, Update Jammer, and Cyberse Wicked. This is if you get Kaiju'd or if you get or if you use Nibiru yourself, because it's able to link off Nibiru because it's a Cyberse that only requires generic materials.
Oh, okay.
So this is if you Nibiru and you need to free up your extra monster zone because the field spell can only special summon from the hand if your extra monster zone is clear.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense.
So if you have the Nibiru on the board just chilling there, then you're not able to use it. But this guy helps you if you need to use Nibiru. It also, if it's linked, it can bounce a monster your opponent controls back to hand. Definitely comes up sometimes. Double Splash Mage. This card revives a Cyberse monster from your graveyard. You need 2 of them because this gets you into a 5k or 6k arrival Cyberse, and then you usually use this for follow-up for the Access Code OTK.
Gotcha.
Or the X Code, yeah, going second for Access Code. Update Jammer. People have probably seen this in Salaman Great. This card, when used as a link material, it allows your monster to attack twice. So you make an Access Code Talker at 5300 attack that can attack twice, so you're doing 10,600 damage.
Yep, I'm familiar with that with Salamangreat for sure.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's an awesome card.
Yeah, it's very good. This deck can really go second quite well because of cards like this. Wicked. This is the card that searches out Bururu, because when a Cyberse monster is special summoned to a zone it points to, it allows you to banish a Cyberse from your graveyard and add a Cyberse tuner to your hand. It also has an effect where it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and monsters it points to cannot be destroyed by card effects.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so sometimes you can get into like Access Code while having this underneath it or something.
Yeah.
While keeping this in your extra monster zone and kind of play around so your opponent isn't using Sword Soul Blackout or Torrential Tribute or something on you. The Link 3s, Fire Phoenix, Transcode, and Dark Templar. So Fire Phoenix has an effect where if it attacks, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack. So this can help you in time sometimes, where you just hit them for 2300 and get a cheeky win out of it. It also has an effect where if it's destroyed by card effect, you can non-targeting destroy one monster your opponent controls. This is interesting because the secret effect of Achichi is that Achichi, if one of your monsters is attacking, Achichi can destroy that monster. So you can pop your own Fire Phoenix to destroy a monster your opponent controls.
Oh.
And then it reborns itself after it was link summoned and popped. So it comes back in the next standby phase.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it comes up sometimes. It's an interesting card. When we have Decode Talker Heat Soul,
oh yeah, there could
switch up for that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Transcode is Transcode. This is how you get into. This is what you bring back your update jammer with, and attack with your access code. It can also be used in your main combo to get into the arrival. And then Dark Templar. This is usually how you get into your arrival Cyberse. So this monster, if a monster is special summoned to a zone it points to, it can special summon Adignister monsters level 4 or lower from your graveyard to zones it points to.
Okay.
So this is where Dark Infant's second effect comes in. So you will special summon. Let's say you start off your combo with a Chi-Chi. You normal summon a Chi-Chi. You add it back to your hand through the course of the combo with Doyan, and then you special summon it to this. You special summon it. You link it off for Dark Infant for the second Dark Infant in your combo. It triggers your Dark Templar to special summon from the graveyard, and normally, if you had a different monster, it would just summon 2. But then Dark Infant activates his Chainlink 2. It transfers over his zone. You change its attribute to Divine, because you're never going to have a conflict if you change it to Divine attribute. And then you just get to summon back, a Chi-Chi, Bakari, and Bururu, or the other Adignisters that you might have in graveyard. So you just get all these materials on the board.
There you go. And then go
That's
into the big boy.
The big boy. The big boy. Yes, yes. And then our last cards is access code. It's access code.
Yeah, not much to say.
And
there it is.
the boy.
The tower.
The arrival of the first Adignister. Unaffected by card effects, gains attack equal to the number of materials it has. It is the only Link 6 in the game. So it is either going to be somewhere between 3,000 and 6,000 attack.
Yeah, that card's awesome.
I love it. Like, this is, if you get hand trapped, or if you don't really get hand trapped, or your opponent hand traps you poorly, or you just have the extenders, going into this guy is so good, because you're not losing to Dark Ruler, you're not losing to Droplet. There are only specific things that it loses to, which are Kaiju's, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, or something that can beat over it in battle, basically.
Yeah.
It really helps with that, because you know what sorts of things can beat you. So you know that maybe you can hold off on those hand traps for a while, because you know that at this point they can't beat you, or at this point they don't have an out to this. And you can save them for when you know that something could happen that can out it.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
So, yeah. So that is probably a long-winded explanation of the main and extra deck. And I also have the side deck for it, if you want me to show that.
Sure, yeah, let's go through it.
Let me grab this real quick. So we have our token, because the Arrival Cyberus also makes tokens by destroying monsters on the field. So for our side deck, so we play the one Harpies Feather Duster. It's Harpies. It comes up against back row. Then our other back row hate cards, we play 1, 2, and 3 Cosmic Cyclone. If you're in a back row matchup, you're playing against Eldritch or something, this comes up so they don't get the graveyard recursion aspect of Conquistador, Sanguine, Vaquero. But it also hits Scythe, because...
Oh, Scythe.
Because that's still a card, isn't it?
I know, surprisingly.
Red Reboot. If you see this going second against Trap decks, congrats, you win.
You win, yeah.
Fun times ahead.
I put that in like every side deck.
Every side deck. Like, it's Red Reboot. If you play against back row and you see it, it's amazing. Play 3 Drone Lockbird. There's probably an argument for this to be in the main deck. I think that there's still a couple of matchups where it just doesn't come up enough. But I side this in all the time, so there's an argument for it.
Yeah. Still a good side deck card.
Absolutely. in the last few years of formats, whether it's been Spiral, whether it's been Drytron, Droll is just kind of, it's a bit evergreen at this point. 3 Lancia, another card that maybe could be mainboarded, but it does work. It hits Flandres, it hits Eldritch, it hits Sword Soul, it hits Tri Brigade,
Yeah.
it hits, some of the base variants and stuff. It hits Tenyis, so it comes up a lot. You don't really need to worry about getting evenly matched in this deck, but it can also do that if you're worried about it. 1 DD Crow, it hits most matchups in some way, and it's also just in case we need an extra crossout designator.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that, if we'd see that in the main deck or not, but hey,
Yeah,
there it is.
there it is. As you saw, I already play a ton of hand traps in this, so it kind of
Yeah.
fits in naturally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And some decks have Crow. The Flandres can search Crow. Lyrilusk, if you still see Lyrilusk Tri Brigade running around, they can search Crow. So
Yeah.
sometimes you want to cross that out. I don't like mainboarding crossout because I really want to have a good balance between going first and going second. And crossout in a deck like this, I think, is really just a going first play. In a deck like the 60 card pile, the base decks that we're seeing lately, all the adventure piles, I think there's a better argument for it to be mainboarded, but in a tight 40 card list that is aiming to go both first and second, I think it's more of a sideboard card.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that is the deck profile. That is the Attic Mister stuff.
Awesome.
So yeah, I can show a quick combo of how with 1 card you can get into a 5,000 Arrival Cyberse.
Yeah, let's see it.
All right. So let's say you started off with nothing in your hand that can help your combo except Achichi. And this can also be done with Picari as well. So let's say you just start with this off. So you normal summon Achichi. Achichi has the effect to add an Attic-Nister monster, level 4 and lower, to your hand. So you add Picari. Now you will link off your Achichi for your Dark Infant Attic-Nister. Dark Infant will search your field spell. So you'll add your Ignister Island to hand. You activate Ignister Island, and then its effect allows you to special summon from the hand. So you special summon your Picari. Now Picari has the effect to add the Attic-Nister spell or trap. So you will add I Meet You to hand. Then you will activate I Meet You, and you will reveal your Dark Templar Attic-Nister in your extra deck, and you will add your Doyan to hand. So now you will link these two off for a Cyberse Wicked. Now you'll use the effect of Island again to special summon Doyan. So Doyan, Chainlink 1, Cyberse Wicked, Chainlink 2. You will banish the Dark Infant from your graveyard and add a Bururu to hand. And Doyan's effect, you will add the Achichi back to hand. It's important that you add the Achichi back to hand because it has to be something that you didn't special summon with Ignister Island.
Oh, gotcha.
Which is going to be whatever you normal summoned. So then you link these two off for your Transcode Talker. And the effect of Doyan, because you used I Meet You earlier in the turn, will add I Meet You back to your hand. So you have follow-up for the following turn as well. Then you're going to use your effect of Island to special summon Bururu. And Bururu can now Foolish, so you send Dunmari to the graveyard. Then you're going to use the effect of Transcode Talker to special summon Cyber's Wicked back. You could special summon basically anything back for this, but Cyber's Wicked is usually just the one I go to, just because I like him. Then we link these three off for the previously mentioned Dark Templar at Ignister. Now you use your Achichi, or you use your Ignister Island to special summon your Achichi, and then you will do this. You link off your Achichi into your second Dark Infant. Now your Dark Templar will trigger to special summon from the graveyard. So Dark Templar will be Chainlink 1, and then because of that, Dark Infant will trigger to move itself over its own, and you change its attribute to Divine so it doesn't contrast with any other attribute you could possibly have. And then you special summon Picari, and Achichi, and Baruru. So you could go into the Arrival here. You go into it for 4K, but you could have some more fun with it, and you could go into a 5K, and I'll show you how I can do that. So first, use Picari and Baruru to synchro summon into Wind Pegasus. This is important because you're going to need your Wind Pegasus in the graveyard. If they beat over your Arrival Cybers, Wind Pegasus will shuffle that monster back into the deck. Then you use the effect of Baruru because it was used for a synchro summon. You can special summon back your Picari. Then you can link these two off for your Splash Mage, and then use Splash Mage effect to revive back anything that is a different attribute from what you have on field. So let's say Picari. So now you have 5 monsters, and one of them is a Link 2, so you can do all of these for the big guy. The Arrival Cybers at Ignister.
There we go.
And now that was from one card. You have 4 other cards in your hand to play with, and you actually have this as well because you searched it, or you added it back to hand off the Doyan. So you have follow-up for next turn to be able to knock into them with an access code or something.
That is awesome. All off of one card. Like you said, you got more in your hand, so you probably have hand traps. Your graveyard's full. You got Pegasus in there. That is awesome.
And you have the and you also have the, where did I put him? You also have the Dunmari in the graveyard for an Omni Negate as well.
All right. Dang, that is awesome. Very I don't know, I would say underrated deck, especially now. Like you said earlier, not many people are playing it. You're not seeing it like everywhere, but I think this proves that it, you know, it can definitely hold its own, it seems like.
So I'm excited to see what more it can do, but I think it really has a shot.
Awesome. Well, Eva, thank you so much for showing off this deck list. I know you share some fun deck lists and videos from like EDO Pro over on your Twitter. Where can people find you? And any final words?
So you can find me on Twitter as @EvaLees, @EVA_LEES. And I'm always posting just random stuff about Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck lists, jokes. I make some really just bad puns and stuff sometimes.
I'm here for it.
Thank you. And yeah, that's I don't have much more to say. Shout out to all the people in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community who have gotten me into this game and keep me playing it. So
that's awesome. And real quick, you're fairly new to like the competitive scene, right? You kind of got back into the game.
Yeah, so I played it a little bit when I was younger, like just with friends and stuff, casually, and then I got back into it competitively last year. So I played in my first locals in like June of 2021. So I'm kind of new to this still, but learning all the time, and I've been able to win a few at this point, so I have some skill, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think the deck building's awesome. I love the explanations and the calculations you figured out for this. So I think that's awesome to see. Glad to have you in the community as well. And guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, go check out Eva. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of this deck. I think it looks really fun. I'm probably going to try to build this and figure my way out with this deck as well. It looks really fun to play. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more videos coming out in the near future, and we'll catch you guys later. Thanks again. Peace out, everybody.